So in this DIYNate video, we're going to actually try and turn a wood pallet, into a bike rack. Got this idea from somebody else on YouTube. Thought this would be a pretty cool way. You can see I've lined up 5 bikes here, or 4 bikes, to be able to fit them in a pallet. Surprisingly, they already fit nicely in there. The gaps are probably wider than I would like from this pallet, but I think when I stand the upright portion of this, it'll probably work pretty well. And you can see the bikes are all standing next to each other. This would actually be a great space saver in our garage, which we could really use at this juncture. Alright, so now I've pulled my bikes out. I'm left all but one in there, and I'm going to make a cut right along the ridge here, all the way across, and then I'm going to flip it over and cut the same thing so that this section ends out being the section I turn up that goes along the wall there and kind of creates a wall upright. So you'll see what I'm talking about in just a few minutes. Got to be a little careful with these nails, making sure I'm not cutting them, or the board that I'm about to run into. Both sides of the pallet, you can kind of see this is the main section I'm using for the base, and you get an idea of how this is going to look right here. I'm going to lay this guy down right there. A little hot out today, so I'm sweating up a storm. And then this other section, you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to do with it. But with these parts and pieces, we should be able to line them up about like so that we can pretty much run our bikes in between the slats. So you get a feel for how that's going to look just right out of the gate. I'm going to put some supports in there and make sure I've got something to anchor into nicely. But you get the idea of how that's coming along right there. So pretty cool. So now that we've got our pallet cut apart, you can see I've put a 2x4 piece in here to firm up these sections that I cut. And I've got one that's running a little long, so I'm going to have to trim that off on the end. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these boards with some screws and pop them in there. So I've got a pretty solid frame here for the backing. So then another thing we're doing here is with this one, I'm just using a nail gun to pop in these so that the slats are nice and even. Okay, now we're measuring another support beam here. We're going to put this 2x4 up underneath to give it another support to nail into. And you can kind of see what that's going to look like. Okay, now we're about to put in some of these deck screws. We're going to take this board and we're going to put that on the back right here up along the lip here, so that I'll have something to anchor into when I take this other board over here and put it up as the back wall. So you're going to see me pop another piece of 2x4, basically making it a 4-inch piece of wood that I'll have the ability to nail into or drill into. I'm going to use my Ryobi impact driver. Love this tool. It's one of my favorite tools in my collection. Between that and the Airstrike nailer I was using a minute ago, these are some great tools from Ryobi. Alright, so as you can see, I've got a pretty good section going here, and you're going to try and see me do this one-handed, which is probably not recommended by anyone on earth. Go. Hopefully you can kind of get a good glimpse of this. Really hot out, and I'm you can see my driver goes in, no holes required ahead of time. We'll do the other side. Goes in nicely. And so with that, I've got 4 screws solidly anchoring. And what that's going to give us now, when we lay this thing flat, it's going to give us a pretty strong deck here to anchor into. So you can see how I've got this now reinforced area that I can drill into. And we'll set that up in just a second. So you can see here, we've got the backing on there. I'm going to put a couple more screws in the back here. You can see how I've leveled it up. The tires go in nicely, so I feel pretty good they're going to fit. And then the uprights, these boards are kind of meant to hold everything in place. So it should do the job pretty effectively. I'm going to probably put some stringers up on the side to make sure that I've got full support on the sides as well. But it's coming along nicely. Okay, now I've measured a piece of scrap wood here, and you can kind of see what I'm planning to do on the sides. This is just a little bit of a very thin 1/2-inch board piece, and I'm going to kind of make a little, you know, side support here, a brace to pop in on the side. I'm going to have to cut a little bit of an angle to make this work, but I'm not This is one of those projects that I'm doing fast and sweating up a storm, so not really trying to be exact or precise, just trying to make it look somewhat good for the functions concerned in my garage. Okay, as you can see here, I've made some interesting cuts on the side. Now I'm just going to pop these boards in, and should be able to get a good clean picture out of this in just a minute. Alright, now you can see how it looks. I got all the pieces together here, and should be very easy to put a bike in. You get the idea of what's going on here. The side support should give it an extra level of keeping it from tilting over. And here we go, putting the bike, my first bike on it. Works nicely. Lays up on the side there, and it should hold very nicely. I'll put the rest of them on here and give you a picture of that. Alright, so now we've got the bike rack all set up in the garage. You can see how nicely the bikes line up here. It's really working well. I've got a lot of other cleaning to do in my garage. Thanks for watching this DIYNate video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Always interested in your comments as well. Certainly love to see and hear how it worked out for you if you tried one of these projects out. Have a great day.